Welcome to Empowered and Unstoppable, the show where high-achieving women crush self-doubt, ditch imposter syndrome, and step boldly into their greatness. I'm your host, Megan Bonnell, and together we'll unlock the mindset, strategies, and confidence you need to create unstoppable success on your terms. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Empowered and Unstoppable, the show where high-achieving women stop just surviving their beautifully full lives and really start to love and own and rock the ones that they've built. I'm your host, Megan Bonnell, life coach, speaker, and a fellow woman who knows what it's like to be the chief everything officer. And I want more, and I think so do you, than just checking boxes. And I couldn't be more excited about today's guest. She is one of these women who really can walk into a room and shift the energy and make you feel like you can absolutely burn down the rule book that's been holding you back. You can find her on global stages, in intimate retreats, in powerhouse boardrooms, and every single time she brings her mix of brain science and strategy and soul that makes you rethink what's possible. Hilary Porta is not only the founder of multiple companies, including R3 International and Equipped to Elevate, and her namesake consulting company, H Porta Coaching and Consulting. Hopefully I said that right. But she's also worked with everyone from Fortune 500 CEOs and elite athletes to Hollywood producers, special force operators. I could go on and on, but she's helping all of them to rewire their mindset, architect scalable, soul-aligned success, and really create legacies that matter. She's been featured in probably over 35, I would assume, publications. She has shared stages with amazing individuals like Dr. Deepak Chopra. And oh yeah, she's also died and come back to tell the story. So yeah, we're going there. So Hilary, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I'm going to take you everywhere I go and just remind you maybe later as my hot girl.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it. I'm so honored to be here with you today, Megan. Oh, just beyond.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And before we dive into all the juicy stuff that I know you're going to share with us, I ask all of my guests this question. It's a fun peek into their real life, and it's a dash of fun. So, what is one thing that you do behind the scenes? Could be quirky, could be weird, or just very human that your audience or followers might never guess about you?
Oh, wow. Okay. I actually am kind of an adrenaline junkie. Most people wouldn't realize that. And I don't think I came online with all of that until I was like 50. And so
Love it.
at 50, I learned to surf. And not only did I
Ooh.
learn to surf, I started skydiving. And skydiving and anything literally that is all about adrenaline. I just love it so very much. And snowmobiling, I mean, you name it, like heli skiing I've been doing. And so yeah, so it's one of those things that's kind of unexpected.
I love that. So, to all of my listeners, I loved Hilary before, but I am an avid surfer and snowboarder, and I've definitely been skydiving over 40 times, and I love snowmobiling. Never been heli snowboarding though, so I think that that's something that I might have to take on. Maybe
I have
always.
got the exact person to put you in touch with too. So just trust me on this one. You got to do it.
I love
Knowing
it.
who you are and what you love to do, this will be the pinnacle for you.
I love it. So, fellow adrenaline junkies, this conversation is with two women that are right there with you. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing and very exciting. And I'm getting that contact information as soon as we're done
Oh
for sure.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with we've all had those rock bottom moments where we feel like the floor feels almost safer than standing up, right? And it's
Yeah.
tempting to see them as an end, as a sign that something's not meant to be. But sometimes that exact incredibly devastating knockdown becomes the launch pad for something that's wildly bigger than we can imagine. And you have openly shared about your pivotal moment that it came after getting off the floor post divorce.
Yes.
Now, that is a mic drop visual. So take us back there, and what shifted in you that led to creating this powerhouse career and life that you have?
Oh goodness. That's a really great question. I was trying to actually go back there and think about it, but it literally was a get up off the floor moment. And I kid you not. It was one of these things that, I believe that we all fall into. We fall into love, we fall into expectation, we fall into marriage, we fall into
Oh,
kids,
yeah.
we fall into rather than really intentionally architect our lives because that's not how we're taught. Um,
Right.
and so had this marriage that was for like almost 17 years. It was high, just so messy, just a very high conflict divorce. And like I said, I was in the fetal position, but that was the best place I could have been because one of the things that it taught me and it gave me, so it was one of those things that you feel wrecked to redeemed,
Yes,
almost.
yes, I love that.
Yeah, and seriously, it forced me into learning who I was outside of a wife, outside of a mother, outside of, a corporate exec at the time. And I was also involved on so many different boards of directors and things of that nature. So I had to kind of pull back and go, can I cuss for a second? Is that
Oh,
okay?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely,
I just
Hillary.
want to
You
be
do
respectful
you.
of ours. But
Yes.
and so funny, I've got the book. I'm almost finished with. It's called "Oh shit, now what?" You
I'm
know?
I'm buying it.
Yeah.
I already I'm buying it.
But it's seriously, it was one of those times that it's really beautiful because I don't think we get that opportunity unless something big happens that where we can pull back and deconstruct and go, wow, who am I really? Versus all of the
Yes.
things and all the roles that I've been forced to play. Uh,
Yes.
and all those things and all the kind of the lies and micro distortions and you're going, okay, so who do we want to be? Who do we know we are? Who do we
Yes.
want to be? And let's actually extract the things that no longer serve. So
I love that. I
yeah,
love that. What was that? Wrecked to redeemed.
yes.
Absolutely. And, ladies, if you're listening and you feel like you're in that fetal position on the floor and you are wrecked, listen in because Hillary has a lot of great, amazing value that she can give you to help you get to that redeemed. And, Hillary, I think that life just has a way of forcing perspective,
It
right?
does, absolutely.
And usually when we least expect it, because nobody's signing up for this, right? Nobody put that on their calendar. And so some of us get it from a big change, others from a heartbreak, perhaps. But
Yes.
sometimes it's so dramatic that it completely rewires how we see every single
Yeah,
day.
it
And I
does.
feel like this is that time, Hillary.
It-
You've literally been on the other side. You
I know.
died,
It was
right? 2
it,
years ago.
it was the most exciting thing in the whole world.
Yeah.
Highly
So
recommend
what?
it. I'm just going to tell you, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's so funny. I've been interviewed now, I guess, all over the world about it and kind of about my experience. And they call them the NDEs, near-death
Yes.
experiences, when you
Yes.
cross over. And it was so incredibly beautiful, Megan. And I think one of the things that was the best way I can describe it. It was very delicious. It was things that there's a hard word that I've been trying to really find that can articulate it, but it's the absence of shame. It's the absence of fear. It's the absence of um, guilt and all of the negative emotions that
Ugh,
it's absolutely delicious. I mean, it's so radical. We don't really understand it here.
we
Today.
couldn't.
No, absolutely not. And
Yeah.
it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. So, yeah.
So how did that liberation, that deliciousness, that freedom, that peace, how did that change how you approach life and your business and all that you do now?
Oh goodness. That's a jam-packed question because for a hot minute after I got back, kind of the meat suit as I called it, needed a little bit of time to heal, but at the same time, as I was really as I was really taking time for that, it was kind of like a sacred pause, and really kind of anchoring in all that I had learned, you know, while I was on the other side. And one of the things, the biggest takeaways was is everything that we need to unlearn, right? So I needed to take some time to really integrate that. And so how I show up now, um, is very conscious, let's just say. It's very conscious, very intentional, taking a look. And I think that you and I both, as we do, very similar, types of
Hmm.
coaching. And I think that it is really just enhanced and really probably not only enhanced, it's really ignited. Maybe that's probably a better word. Ignited a sense of urgency. I feel
Yes.
like a freedom fighter now. I mean, I just want people to have the emotional freedom, the mental freedom, the financial freedom, the relational freedom. Uh,
Yes.
and so it helps to prioritize, number one, obviously. But not only prioritize, in my coaching now, I can take a look, and because we do a lot of identity work, and
Hmm.
that's kind of a big thing. I mean, I don't care who you are and how successful you've been, if energetically you're off, no matter what kind of formula you're going to put to it in strategy, it's not going to go.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that, you and I both bring in the energetic piece to this, into our coaching. And so it's so very important and vital that you understand who you are, first off. And I think
Yes.
that both the divorce, right, as well as, the dying, um, I say I can't, I died twice and I came back twice as dangerous because now, I guess I'm just unfiltered and I'm unapologetic. So
Love
sometimes
it.
I am way more bold than I probably would have been 10 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
because right now it's so important to free people and, do this, what I call generational shifting business. You have 4 children, so do I. And, it's so important, to look back and see the conditioning that we were raised in and all of
Oh,
our
yes.
belief systems. And we have to say, okay, which is really true? What's true for me
Yes.
works. And also, what do I really want to pass down? Because they're going to catch it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, whether you verbalize it or not, they're going to catch it by your actions. And so, I think that it's definitely lended itself to being more conscious for sure, and how that I approach people and all of that. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. Our identity, I think, so often is wrapped up in those titles, in those roles that we play. And that just becomes in our mind who we are. And yet we are so much more, so
Yes.
much deeper than any of those titles, responsibilities, task lists,
Yeah.
anything. But it
100%.
does take time to peel those off and say, who am I and who do I want to be and what do
Yeah.
I want to pass on?
Absolutely. And there for a while, because over the last 10 years, I'd really taken a deep dive. And you and I, we were joking before we kind of came on that we're both really science nerds.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, I jump out of planes just like you do, but we're fun girls. But I
Oh,
just
yeah.
want to say I'm a nerd first and foremost. I mean,
Yes.
anything neuroscience. I mean, I studied epigenetics and neuropsychology, and
Same.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So, and I have all these great mentors and all of this stuff. And so I took a deep dive about 10 years ago, literally traveled the world learning different healing modalities. So I've studied shamanism. I am everything from NLP to Psych K to the emotion code to the lightning process, RTT. I mean, I could go quantum physics, you just name it. I mean, I
Yes.
can do it. And I think that with that, right, it gave me such a different perspective. And so then after I died, I, as I came back, I was like, what am I supposed to be now? Am I supposed to be a
Oh,
healer? Am I supposed to, how am I supposed to show up now with this amazing knowledge, right,
right.
to help people truly ascend in the ways that matter, right?
Yes.
Because you and I both know that we can help people make 6, 7, even 8 figures, and we've both done it. I mean, with our clients, and so
Yes.
it's not a problem. But I want to make sure that we get it right.
Yes.
I'm very soul aligned now, and so, like I said, I kind of went through a little hot minute of an identity crisis going, okay, well, really, what am I supposed to do now? And so, yeah, and then I realized I truly am an architect and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But now I just have a great arsenal of tools that I can help them from rewiring their subconscious, helping them with the identity work on top of the business strategy. So we're actually looking at all of it. So that's really great and so much fun too.
I love that so much. I think I have a new impossible wish list. Those are my favorite things to just imagine what could have been. And I think my new one is that I wish I could go back when you traveled the world and learned all of those things and just be right by your side. That would have been amazing. What a
Hey, let's
wealth
just
of
do it
wisdom.
now.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're gonna have to get you a nanny though, girl, because you got those four littles. I got the four olders.
Yes,
I got the
yes,
bigs, you got the littles.
absolutely. I
But
love
we'll
it.
travel. We'll do anything you want because I would absolutely love it. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. But that just goes to show how much wisdom and truly how much depth you have to provide to women and to men to help them on their journey. And I love how you said soul aligned because it really isn't about that title and about the things and about the money. None of that means anything if it's not truly aligned with you and who you are.
No.
So thank you for that.
I want to just pop there for just 1 second because,
Yeah.
you and I, we both work with a lot of founders, right? And
Yeah.
CEOs and powerhouse elites. And, I mean, I'm a part of this one group. It's a mastermind group that has been such just it's really been my kind of people, and I believe your kind of people too, and we can talk about it afterwards. But, and having a lot of really honest conversations with so many of these founders who are mainly 8 and 9 figure, earners, that's one of the things that they're so hungry for is alignment now. I mean, they've made the money, they've done all the things, they've gotten a divorce, they've gotten remarried, they all of the things, right?
Yes.
But they need to feel it in their soul that they're leaving a legacy. And I think that's what's the most important thing now.
Yeah. Well, that I think you almost have a gift. And that kind of reminds me of that. The gift of falling to the floor, fetal position, the gift of, your near death experience, like all of those things. And I think it's almost a gift to have clarity show up in a flash like that, right? Like a lightning bolt that came down from the universe. But most of the time, I think for most people, it really is built brick by brick, choice by
100%.
choice, step by imperfect step. And I
Yes.
think that your advice to people that feel stuck is gold. You've said that you don't need to wait for clarity like it's going to strike because maybe they don't have those devastating gifts, right? But
Right.
instead to create it one imperfect step at a time. So,
Yeah.
how would you suggest someone creates, if you will, this clarity even when they can feel so overwhelmed in this amazing life that they've built?
So, Megan, that's a really great question. And so, what I want to say to that is number one, you're not meant to do this alone. Okay. And we're really not. We are just not. And so,
No.
everyone needs a coach. All right. I mean, I need a coach. You need a coach.
Yeah.
We all need coaches. We need someone to stand beside us to help us because sometimes as I call it, we're too close to the rock face. I
Oh,
like to
yeah.
climb as well. And, are you too?
I
Yes.
love rock climbing so much, so much.
Okay, so you understand it like when you're too close to the rock face, it's hard to understand where you might have to put, again, and that's what your spotter, you and I are
Mhm.
spotters, and your belay, you've got somebody, and so that's why it's so. To me, that's probably the biggest thing is we're taught from trauma early on and conditioned the hyper independence. Oh, I can do it. And we wear it like a badge of honor until we realize that we really don't have to. And that's just not
Yes.
even a badge of honor.
No, no, but we wear it so proudly until we understand that.
Well,
Absolutely.
yes. And, unfortunately, the world promotes it. They think, oh, you're so superwoman. You're so the No, not at all. Actually, allow us to go back into our feminine, right? I was in corporate for such a long time. And I mean, I had to function in such a masculine environment. I mean, literally, I went from entry level to SVP in 4 years. And you can only imagine,
Ooh,
how many glass
yeah.
ceilings I had to eat for breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, that's the thing is, then I had to actually make the switch and come back to my beautiful feminine, divine part of who I am and embody that on top of keeping the masculine so that I can continue to do, the things that I need to do. So it's a beautiful dance now. And so, but, getting back to what would somebody do? Get a coach. Okay. Out there, ladies, I'm just going to tell you right now, Megan is beyond fantastic, and I would recommend her highly to anyone.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
So definitely, definitely, definitely get a coach. One of the things that I did when my kids were smaller and is to teach some of this, I thought every year right before their birthday, and you know how like when you're planning the birthday parties and you're planning
Oh, yeah.
right? So I actually took it a step further and I didn't just plan their birthdays. What I did was I planned on what skill sets I wanted them to learn this year, what failures I was going to present for them this year, that they
Love
could
that.
do it in the safety of where they were cognitively, right? Relationally, experientially. And so I could then build in those experiences so that it could help them understand and have that true, true, deep knowing of, hey, they're safe. I got them.
I
And
love that.
and yet at the same time, understand what we call failure, which is again, it's not failure. There's no such thing as failure, is what I learned on the other side. Failure is just a made up construct. What what we're really doing is we're experiencing contrast, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's really what, I help them learn that from an earlier age so that, hey, they become more aware, number one. They become even more emotionally intelligent, number two. And number three, they learn that they can handle, right? That
Yes.
how to navigate those tough spots while I'm there kind of coaching alongside them. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's a beautiful way of looking at it too. And I love that term contrast instead of failure and success.
Yes,
But,
that's right.
you had talked about how everybody should have a coach. Everybody needs a coach, right? We are built into this life with a coach for the
Yes.
first 18 plus years of our life. And
Yes.
then we just assume that all of a sudden we know all of
And
it and we should do it on our own. And if we don't do it on our own, then we're not responsible or reliable or independent or bold or strong. And that just couldn't be further from the truth.
yes.
Yeah. So I 100% agree with that. And then something else that I think was beautiful is, well, I love that idea, by the way, of almost setting up for them what they're going to learn that year and
Yeah,
putting them in experiences, allowing them to have experiences that will help them learn that. And what I think in the long run that will give them is the ability to listen to the gut they have because they've been experiencing and they've been doing well and not doing well and learning and growing. And I think that even as adults, we all have, everybody has them, those moments where our gut whispers something almost
100%.
before our brain catches up, right?
It's
And
that intuition.
it is. And then later we thank ourselves for listening to it, or we regret that we ignored it because
Yeah,
trusting that voice that we build as a child, right, can be one of the boldest strategies that we
yeah,
have. And I think that you had even said at one point that one of your biggest lessons of your success is really to trust that gut
100%.
implicitly.
Yeah.
So give us an example maybe of a time that that gut whispered and then it led to a massive win when made you maybe logically you were like, this might not be a good idea. Because I think we've all been there, right? You're listening to another episode of Empowered and Unstoppable. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbonnellcoaching.com.
Absolutely. Oh goodness. Okay. Massive win with that one. All right. So I was presented with an opportunity overseas, and initially it didn't it didn't look like an ROI would really be there, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
something in my gut, literally my intuition said, do it. You just need to go do it. And I did it. And it turned into just the most beautiful, not only relationship, but it also turned into it just continued to have a ripple effect, let's just say, in my business, in my personal life, and it was just absolutely wonderful. So you've got to do that. And that's the things that you have to do. You have to learn to trust your intuition. But unfortunately, we're taught the exact opposite. And
Oh, yes.
where we've had, trauma early on or things of that nature, it teaches us doubt and it teaches us to be cautious and all of these things. And so our picker becomes off.
Right,
And our
right.
discernment becomes off because we're not really sure what we should do with that. So
Yes.
if that's one thing that is so vital is to make sure that you really do go in, literally into it. Your
Lean
intuition.
in.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
love that. I love that. And I think the whole idea of following your gut, something that I have found with my clients at least, is having pretty strong, and I feel like such a cliche term now, but having really clear boundaries that are aligned with you and your core identity, not your title and your roles and whatever. And we all know it, right? We've all said yes to something and then instantly felt an energy drop. And
Yes.
the cost of having weak boundaries at that moment, right?
Yeah.
But when you draw the line and it's clear and aligned and you own your yeses and your nos, even if they're hard ones, that's when you start to really feel aligned in what you
100%.
do. And you work with some of the most high performing clients on the planet, right? From CEOs to elite military operators. What maybe is one of the biggest boundary shifts or bold actions that you've seen transform their results?
Mm. All right, I'm going to tell you a story. It's story
I
time
love it. Story
because
time.
yeah, I think this is gonna answer your question and probably another one. So um, I was invited to come up from a founder and CEO of an investment bank, and was he was really experiencing a lot of pain in his directs. He unfortunately had the wrong people in the wrong seats and
Mhm.
things were going awry. There was a mass exodus, just all the things. And so he flew me up and it was really amazing because I got to sit in on everything, and then I went to the water cooler and got to really hear the real stories and
Yeah.
story behind the stories, that kind of thing, and the people behind the people positions. And um, when he brought me back after 3 days into his office, he goes, "Well, how did everything work? What did you discover? Where's your deck?" And I said, "Well," I said, "just sit down. We're gonna have a conversation."
Why don't you take a seat, grab a drink.
Yeah,
Let's chat.
exactly. We're good. And um, I think he was so used to, consultants coming in there with, a deck, and we call them decks, presentation decks and pitch
Yep.
decks, things of that nature, with all the observations and all the recommendations. And I just said, look, here's the situation.
Let
You're,
me lay it out for you.
I know, I just said, you're brilliant. You're absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, you do have the wrong people in the wrong seats. They have no respect for you. You're paying them so highly. I mean, we're talking about they're able to make such an amount that they can take a helicopter and go into the Hamptons every weekend at their other home. That should put it in perspective.
Yes.
So, but one of the thing is they're not really performing at all, and they're also not catching his back. And that's a real problem. When you can tell that there's not a lot of respect on that end. And he said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Let's clean house." Number one, we're
Ooh,
gonna clean house. And I said, "Can I do it?"
juicy.
And he was like, "Oh yes, you do it." So I was super excited. So I got to kind of clean house there. And then I was, in charge of helping him replace for the key positions. And so we really got some great people, just wonderful humans in there,
I
very
love that.
people-centric at the same time, looking for the everything that he needed. And so we started shifting the culture, which was beautiful because
Yes.
he was brilliant. But he didn't have a lot of the emotional intelligence piece,
Yes. Yeah.
which you find so often, right?
Yep.
In where you coach as well, in the spaces that, places that come to you. And so as we continue to work together, I noticed that, you know, his marriage was hanging on by a thread, which is so very common. It's
Yes.
in that at that level, that's usually what happens. And so um, I just said, hey, we're going to switch gears, and I just said, because I don't want to just make your company great. I want to make your life great.
The whole
I want
package.
to make your children, have love and respect and honor for you and, want to be you rather than just, oh, he's just my checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
That was what was going on. And so here's this guy, super, super successful, but yet I had earned his trust enough to allow me into this really sacred space of his. And
Yeah.
I just said, hey, here's what you're going to do. And I just said, you're going to have to go home. And I said, I want you to cancel the cook for the night. You know what I mean? Cancel the
Yeah.
order pizza, get everybody in. We're going to do a tribal council. And I said, the first thing you're going to do is to say, hey, I owe you all an apology. He goes, what the hell? You can
It's
imagine.
like, no, I am providing this life for them. Look at me go.
And I said, yeah, you are. You're slaying the dragons, you're doing this, but what you're not providing is the most important things for them at home.
Yeah.
And I just said, if you have a chance in hell of saving your marriage and your relationship with your children, and you don't want to end up like a statistic, I said, let's do this. And so he was willing. I'll give him that. He was willing to try it. And so fast forward, he did do it. And he humbled himself and said, hey, I've been slaying the dragon essentially. I mean, I coached him through what to say, but it didn't matter. He did it. He didn't
Yeah.
have to do it, but he did it. And, everyone was on a little tenterhook, starting like, who has taken over my dad? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
What is
And
happening right
like,
now?
his wife later confessed to me, she said, I wasn't sure if he was going to do like a murder suicide, so I really didn't sleep very well that night.
Oh my. Oh my. Such a drastic shift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But fast forward about 60 days later, and I get this ginormous bunch of flowers delivered. I mean, it's the kind of, you walk into a hotel foyer and it's that big. You're like,
Yes.
oh
Takes
God,
over the room.
my whole
Yes.
neighbors, everybody can have flowers for like, the next weeks.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just texted him and said, oh my gosh, I just got these flowers from your wife. And inside the card, she said, if you ever leave us, I'll kill you. And but
He's like, just kidding, but really. But
yeah,
really.
exactly. And I said, may I have permission to call her? So I did. And I called her and I sat on my floor and I cried. And we cried together because as a woman, I know what it's like. And she said, I'm falling in love with my husband, but he's a different man. And it's beautiful. And he's not missed the kids' sports. He's not missed this. He's not missed that. And I just don't even know what to say. And so, of course, like I said, I'm sitting here bawling,
Yeah.
crying because just from the vulnerability of it. And
Yeah.
just, yeah. So I sat in such deep gratitude that he allowed me in so that I could not only go in and, help his company, obviously, and help it scale, and getting the right people in the right seats, getting him, the respect that he deserved, helping him with that
Mhm.
emotional intelligence piece, not only in the workplace, but in home.
Yeah.
So it had such a ripple effect. And now it's so funny. I still get flown up for birthdays and things.
Oh,
And that's when you go, okay, this is what it's about.
yes.
That's
Yes.
what it is. So yeah.
Well, and we had talked about earlier how everybody needs a coach. And
Yes.
to be honest, I think that most people don't even know why yet, right?
They
They
not
come to
right.
us for a specific thing. But that's our job, is to really step back from that rock face and
Yes.
say, okay, no, I can help you with that 100%. But
Right.
girl, there's more. There's more.
There's so much more.
And ask for that permission to dive in and truly transform their life,
Yeah.
not just that one problem or challenge that they're having. What
Yes.
a
And
beautiful story.
well, it's so sacred, that area that we get to be in, you and I. You know,
Yes.
we're what I always call the fortunate ones that, we do get to walk alongside people in that sacred space that and to have their trust really to help them become more aligned with their soul, help them
Yes.
define their non-negotiables, right?
Yes. Yes.
So huge because it's the boundary piece, but at the same time, not many people believe that they can even have boundaries. They don't even know what those are.
No.
Yeah, and then you all of a sudden you wake up and you've been wash, rinsing, and repeating on resentment and anger and frustration, and you're like, wait, what? I can really change this? You're like,
Yes.
yes, you
Yes.
can. Very
And
easy.
yeah, and it's crazy because most of the time, those steps that they can take, the options that they have, the choices they can make aren't even massive ones.
No,
They're
there's
just micro
micro.
changes.
I know, and that's the most. I think that's the beautiful part is just making a few tweaks initially, and they're just like their nervous system can go and
Yes.
and that's such a beautiful thing to witness, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Yes.
grateful for that.
Oh, same. It's such an honor, truly, to be able to do what we do and have people give us the permission to come alongside them and
Yeah,
watch front seat that transformation. It's absolutely beautiful. And,
yeah,
I think that client of yours is a really good example of where a lot of the women listening, where they are, because thinking of success in their terms at the moment, right? More money, better position, higher title, bigger company, scaling, growth is exciting, right?
yes,
And
yes.
until it's exhausting.
Until you hit burnout.
Yeah. And so whether it's a career climb or whether it's building a business, there's some point where scaling becomes survival, right? Unless we learn to protect that energy like the asset that it is and really stick to the things that are most important to us
Yeah.
as helped him see. And so I think there's probably a lot of women listening that are either scaling a business or
Mhm.
scaling careers, but
Yes.
they're burning out in the process and forgetting what's most important. And
Yes.
so that was such a beautiful illustration. And if you could give them like maybe one strategy for continuing on their path of what they're currently defining success as, but not forgetting about them, their families, not losing themselves in the hustle. What might a strategy be or one step? What can they do?
I think the very first thing that you got to do is you got to step back and you got to audit. You know this really well,
Oh
but you
yes.
you got to audit, where you are. Here's as is, here's the future, here's what you want. There's a big gap there. So let's do a gap analysis. Let's take an
Absolutely.
audit where we're putting our time, where we're putting this, where our emotions are going. I mean, it goes deep, right? What are the belief systems that are around that? Because, you know, one of the things that's so important, and I see over and over again, is people don't even think to do that type of, the audit.
No,
But
right?
look at how our nervous system is handling things, right? I mean, that is so incredibly, where's our energy leaking?
Yes.
I mean, what are we going to do more of? What do we definitely don't want to do more of? Where's the contrast there?
Yes.
And what can we do about it? And so that's, I think, the very most important thing that they can do right now. I call it triage.
Yeah.
We are going to triage this, right? That's really what I would do.
I love that. And that's actually how I'm sure that you're the same. That's how I start with every single client. I'm aware of why you think you're here. But
Yes.
before we dive into anything, and audit is such an amazing word, is we're gonna do a really big audit. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna figure it all out with you so that we can find those leaks, so that we can determine where you're missing, what's most important, what piece of your life have you just let go astray, and where are you really putting your energy? And is that where you want to put it? Are the results that you're going to get really what you want
Well,
in
yeah.
life?
And I think that's one of the things too that and in a lot of the conversations I've been having lately too, is the definition, right, of success has changed for a lot of people now. It used to be, "Oh, I want to make seven figures." I mean, I can't
Oh
tell
yeah.
you how many discovery calls that I had, been on, that everybody's like, the very first thing, "I want to make seven figures."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Why? What are you going to do with the money?" And they're like, "I don't know." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
What's that going to do for your life?
right.
Yeah.
What you're really saying is I'd like to have financial security.
Yes.
And that looks different for everybody, right?
Yes.
And it's not this influencer, I'm going to go rent a Lambo, I'm going to go rent a private plane for an hour so that I can get my picture made and all this other bullshit that
No.
it just creates such comparison and makes people fearful of like, oh, I'm going to fail. I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to be able to, have the that. I'm not going to have 6-figure months. I'm like, yes, you can if that's what you want. And let's be very strategic about it. But let's also do it in alignment with whatever else is going on, like your relationships, because that's the most important thing. This is going back.
Yes.
Hell, Stephen Covey's. I used to teach Stephen Covey stuff. Amelia, I'm dating myself. I'm so old.
No, I love it.
But like the 7 habits and the big rocks, right? You think about what are your big rocks and think people don't even think. They're so busy in this nanosecond culture that people have not even slowed down to even ask themselves what's so important for this year. Like every year on my birthday, I go away for a couple of days. And what I do is I ask myself, okay, I'm going to take an audit, right? I'm going to look back what I learned, what has been such defining moments in the last year, and where do I want to go? Do I want to continue on certain things? Do I not? Do I want to pivot? What do I want to
Love that.
explore? And so that's the thing for me is that when you can pull it back, and the biggest thing is, and I have a signature talk on this, it's called subtract to add, right? Because I
Ooh,
think that's,
juicy.
yeah, it's so important because
Yes.
there's a lot of things that we really need to subtract so that we can add the right things in.
Yes.
So that is so incredibly, it's critical. And most
Yeah.
people even, like I said, they're so involved in this or that or this or that and trying to be seen over here and trying to be done, all of the things. Because that's what they're thinking that it takes to do it. And it doesn't. It just
No,
really,
well, and I think our culture is really forcing people almost to buy into the idea of this definition of success that we see, right? That we see on social media, that people talk about on social media.
it's not even
Um,
real, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. And that's the thing is if you have them really picture that future life that they want, it isn't the dollar signs. It isn't the title. It isn't the house, the location. It's what are you doing with it? How are you spending your time? How are you spending your energy? That's your definition of success. So let's set you up to get there so that the most valuable, those biggest rocks, you're
Yeah.
putting in first. They're never forgotten. They're never left out. And the
Yeah.
rest of it, it'll all fit in. But
All this, and it does. And
it
it's
does, but not the other way around. You
no,
can't put in the sand first. You can't put in the small pebbles first.
not
Yeah,
at
I
all.
love that. I actually work with school districts a lot of times on leadership and on management in a classroom, and really it's very culture focused.
Yeah.
And so dating myself a little bit, Covey, the same thing. That's something that I go back to, and a visual demonstration that I use all the time
People,
because it's so
it
powerful.
right. It is. I think that's the perfect word for it. It is so powerful because when you can see it, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, yeah, it's just wonderful. So I
Yeah.
hope, yeah, it's really important.
So I'm going to shift gears slightly.
Okay.
Who we've been talking about is that person that kind of has that bigger vision has been chasing it,
Yeah.
but maybe has forgotten along the way the importance of investing in those bigger pebbles, right? But I also know that there's probably a lot of women on the other side who has a bigger vision tucked inside of her, and then a list of reasons, excuses, waiting, justifications for why she's not ready to go after it yet. Right.
Yeah.
So, what if, though, the most powerful move is starting before you feel ready? Because you and I both know that you're never actually going to feel ready. And you've talked about that, about dropping limits and our past conditioning. You mentioned that earlier, the conditioning from our lives and from our childhood. And to forget that, to move past that and step into this life of boldness. So, if there's a woman in that position where she has these hopes, these dreams, this vision, and she's listening right now and thinking, I want that, but I'm not ready. I don't know where to start. What's her step one?
Well, so often, the school of thought used to do it scared, just do it bold, just go ahead and do it, blah 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 blah. And I hate to say that I've even said that stuff even to myself and probably my kids at times. And that's one of the things that you will never hear me say again because if your nervous system is so dysregulated, then it's really going to throw it even more
Right. Absolutely.
tailspin. So I would say titrate in, right? If you know that you're going
Ooh.
to, do something really big and that you've got something that's, I call it, the BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals, right?
Yes.
got these, the BHAGs, then let's look at it in incremental steps. I mean, you don't have to just dive into the deep end because everybody says, "Oh, just do it, do it, do it." Then you're like, oh, you know, oh, you lose your shit completely because know, your nervous system is so dysregulated. So
Yeah.
right in, learn where you are and what will help co-regulate at the same time so that you can truly step into that. I mean, you know you're, like I said, you're a climber, you're into skydiving as well. I mean, think about it. Would you, instead of your first skydive, would you have not done tandem? I mean, no.
No,
There
no,
we go. So there we go.
absolutely
You're
not.
like, no, no.
No.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So
Yes.
you've got to go in, and you've got to architect it knowing that you can make sure that the nervous system is going to be regulated, that they feel safe, and those titrated in, because that's the way that you're going to have the longevity, the sustainability, the things of that
Love
nature.
that. I love that term titrate. We're both science nerds, but really planning that titration so that you have that confidence and safety net because you're doing it little bits at a time. And not that it's not a risk. I mean, just like tandem skydiving, also still a risk, but you're
Yep.
not just jumping out of a plane having never done it before. That's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
it. Yes. What a good visual. So powerful. Okay. Well, I have just one final question for you. You
Okay.
ready for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
If you could give every empowered and unstoppable woman listening right now a magic post it note to put on her mirror and leave it there so that she reads it every morning, what would it say?
Oh, this is going to sound very Yoda.
I love it. I love it already. I'm in. I'm writing it.
As a thinker thinks, a prover proves.
Ooh,
Yoda, right? So
yes.
what I mean by that is everything is 6 inches, which is another, signature talk. But it's truly, if you measure from here to here, everything is, if you look at the Hermetic laws, everything's mentalism and things of that nature. As a thinker thinks, a prover will prove. So if you think you're going to fail, or if you think you're going to have a bad relationship, or you think whatever, you're going to prove it. I mean,
Yep.
Henry Ford said it best. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yes. It's so true, though. So
Yeah,
true.
it is. So, truly, if you could remember that you're manifesting 24/7, okay? Most people forget that for some odd reason, but you are. And your current life is based on what you have been thinking about and ruminating and obsessing about. So, if you are constantly um, experiencing rejection or delay, or lack or whatever, that's what your focus is on. And so that's what I'm saying. As a thinker
Yes.
thinks, a prover will prove. So if you
Yeah.
can just remember that you're actually in control. Most people forget that. They
Yeah.
think the circumstances control them. But I'm telling you, it's not that way. It's
No,
really
not at
not.
all.
I mean, I've studied too much quantum physics. I'm just going to tell you, it's not that way.
Yes.
So that's really, that's what I would leave them with, is to understand that they really are truly, they're writing their story.
Yes.
And whatever you think about is going to prove. So
I love
I
that.
changed my thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, you and I, when we first got on the phone, you said, "How are you today?" And I said, "I'm great. How are you?"
Yeah,
Because it's a choice. It's
it
a choice
is.
to be great. It's a choice to be um, in love with your life. It's a
Yes.
choice to make a decision, and it's a hell yes, right? Or
Yes. Hell yes.
a hell yes or a hell no. And there you go. So
Well, I love that so much, Hilary, and thank you. Thank you for this conversation, for the depth, for the laughter, for the perspective shifts, and just your realness. I know that our listeners are going to walk away with not just inspiration, but some seriously actionable, with including. Tell us one more time what that sticky note's going to say.
as a thinker thinks, a prover proves.
I'm writing it. I'm putting it on my mirror. And it is just such an amazing reminder of where we can start by just shifting what we allow our minds to focus on. So, listeners, if you loved today's episode as much as I do, I would love for Hilary to tell us how we can get more of her. So, Hilary, if we just need more of you, where do we find you?
Hey, I would just be honored, number one. Number two, you can reach me through my website, and it's hporta, porta.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. However, my Instagram got hacked. I had
Oh,
some,
boo.
yeah, and yeah, unfortunately, they held it for ransom, so I gave it up because I'm like, listen, I am not going to pay you for my to get
For
my
my own
to continue
profile
to
back.
hack me. No way.
Yeah.
So I think I probably have 70. I don't even know now. So
Yeah.
I went from 50 to 70. So I'm not as active, obviously, on there. But yes, please find me. I would just love to help in any possible way. But Megan, I want to say this. The time together that we've been able to share has been so meaningful this morning, and I am so thankful for you. And I want to say how thankful I am that not only you get it, but that you are so willing to show up, and you're showing up for the world. Not only are you growing these four sweet, beautiful children and, manage your household and all of that. You know, so I just want to say, well done, because you're
Hmm.
making it, you're being a great example. You're being a good leader, for those, and you're modeling the things that are really important. And so for that, I am so impressed, and I am just such a
Oh.
huge fan. And so thank you, thank you, thank you on the behalf of all the women who get to work with you.
Well, Hilary, that means so much coming from you. And I have certainly enjoyed our time together. And I definitely know that this will not be the last moments that we spend together for
I hope
sure.
not. We've
No
got our
way.
European trip to go to.
We have a massive trip to go to. That's what's happening here. I love that. And, I'm sure that our friends that are listening did too. And seriously, ladies, go get in Hilary's world. She just has so much to share. And I know the transformation that you will have in your life from what she can provide you and help you with is going to be far beyond what you could ever possibly dream. You'll never look at your life or your business the same way again. So get some more Hilary. And all of those ways that you can get in contact with her will be in the show notes, of course. So, find those and find your way to Hilary. And if you really are ready to stop surviving and start owning your life, loving your life, make sure that you hit subscribe, leave a review, go find more Hilary, and share this with a friend that you
And
think.
Megan.
And Megan, and really
Yes,
share
definitely.
this. Yes, please, both of us, because we are here to help and to guide and to provide whatever it is that you need to really make that transformation. And, share this with somebody that needs a little bit of boldness and needs a boost today, because our goal is to really reach as many women as possible because we know the difference that it can make. So don't stop here. I would love so much to see you next week. Hilary, we are definitely going to see each other in the future. And
Yes.
this is Empowered and Unstoppable. I'm Megan Bonnell. Hilary, thank you again. And we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in to Empowered and Unstoppable. If today's episode spoke to you, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs a boost of empowerment. Are you ready to take your success to the next level? Visit www.meganbonnellcoaching.com. Remember, you're not just capable, you're unstoppable. See you next time.